Recording. Welcome back, Beans Army, to another episode of the Less is More Sports Podcast, the college offseason podcast, where you could say we're less of the regular season, but more of the offseason. We do it every year. After our annual Cap or No Cap episode, where Matt and I break down our thoughts on the upcoming college basketball season, we do what we like to do after that episode is we like to do a college basketball players draft, but every year we add a little bit of a twist to it. So this year, Matt's made up like a little spinner deal where he's going to spin. It's got all the major conferences plus mid majors, and whatever conference or non-conference it lands on is what players we have to select from. So without further ado, because as always, I dominate the intro. Matt, you got the first pick. Where are you drafting from?
So I'm going to hit my spinner button and see what we end up with here. And here comes the spinner. It's going and going and going. And we've come to a stop, and I've received the West Coast Conference. Oh, boy.
Oh,
I
look at
think
that.
I think you know exactly where this one's going, Les, because there's one guy in the West Coast Conference who you talked about last week, who I also really like, even though I'm a bigger fan of Gonzaga than most people. I still think that I'm going to go with Aiden Mahaney here. 13.9 points per game last year, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, numbers that are only going to go up. We love Randy Bennett on this show. We call him the Naked Mole Rat very affectionately. I love him that way. So I'm going out for the Gales of St. Mary's, and I'm going to take in Aiden Mahaney, a guy who you said has Jimmer Fredette potential, and I'm
Absolutely.
inclined to agree with you. So I'm going to go with that for my first pick. All right,
It's a
so Les,
solid.
you ready?
I'm ready. That's a solid pick. I mean, that's going to be tough to beat for a first overall pick, but let me know what we got.
It's time to hit the spin button for Les. Oh, it's slowing down. And it looks like Les will receive. Oh my God. What are the chances? I think you've got the ACC, buddy. So who's your pick from the ACC?
This is so fitting. Matt gets a mid-major pick for the first pick. I get an ACC pick for the first pick. This is just the most fitting thing ever on this podcast. Um, but I think without question, my first pick has to be maybe a guy that not everyone is thinking is going to win ACC Player of the Year, but I think is going to win ACC Player of the Year, and that is none other than Duke point guard Tyrese Proctor, which I'm pretty sure all of you all could have predicted that I'm going to pick a Duke player at some point in this draft if I ever had the chance to land on an ACC pick. But no, Tyrese Proctor. I mean, he's a complete point guard. Moving when he was officially moved to the point guard slot last year, it completely changed the dynamic of the Duke offense. He gets everyone involved. He's a very good shooter, and I think in the latter half of the season, he was shooting close to 40% from three. Not to mention, and he'll lock up your best perimeter player. So I mean, Tyrese has to be my first pick, and there's no debate about it.
I would be surprised. I can't believe you didn't take Armando Bacot, is all I'm thinking.
I need somebody who can put points on the board. I mean, come on now.
Armando Bacot, man. You love him. How could you betray him like this?
Yeah, I love him so much. You caught me.
All right, I'm going back to the wheel to see where we end up next. And we're spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And slowing down. It looks like I've got the American Athletic Conference. Oh, boy.
Another mid-major,
I
technically.
can't imagine who I'm going to take here. Oh, I already know it's Elijah Martin. I mean, the 6'2 junior guard was a big part of what happened last year with Dusty May and that team. 13.4 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, and almost 1.5 assists with a pretty high field goal percentage of nearly 44%. Big part of a big team that's got a really good starting lineup. It was a temptation to go with Vladislav Golden or John L. Davis, but I just like that dynamic that Elijah Martin gives to that team. So with my second pick from the AAC, not the ACC, man, that's a lot of A's and C's. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
take Elijah Martin from Florida Atlantic.
This draft is rigged. You're getting all the mid majors. This is your area of expertise here.
Who would have thunk that? It's almost like it was, like you said, it's almost like the envelope is cold, Les.
This is
The
a
envelope is
spooky. This is a
cold.
spooky rig draft. As you got your pumpkin shirt on.
Well, it's a costume. It's my Cinderella pumpkin.
I like it actually. I dig it.
You should have known that I had a plan for that. But
I know.
anyway,
I knew you were gonna have a plan. I just didn't know what that plan was.
And now we go back to the wheel. Oh boy, Les, here we go. It's spinning for you. And we're spinning, and we're spinning, and we're spinning. Oh God, we're slowing down. We're slowing down, and you get the Big Ten.
I get the Big Ten. Ooh,
You got the Big
ooh,
Ten, Mr. Les.
ooh, that's tough. But I guess I gotta go with the reigning player of the year himself. I gotta go Zach Edey. I don't feel like I need to go into too much description here. It speaks for himself. Reigning player of the year. Enough said.
Yeah.
And even though Purdue lost to Arkansas in that little preseason scrimmage, one thing I was impressed was to see Edey flash out to the perimeter and attempt to guard guards.
Yeah,
So I mean that was pretty
that was
impressive.
freaky. Yeah.
It was weird, but I'm all for it. If he can add that to his arsenal, he might actually make an NBA roster, and I'll be surprised.
Yeah. That and he's probably that and there's always seemingly some dude who's like 7'4" that makes his way onto the roster in the NBA.
Right. I mean,
But
whether it was Taco a few years ago, and now it might
Taco
be Zach Edey.
Simbalar. Remember Simbalar?
Yeah, I remember Simbalar.
Big
I
guy.
used to pick like Simbalar and like 2K with like my last pick of every like GM draft or whatever you call it.
I knew we were friends for a reason, Les. I knew we were friends for a reason.
Did you do the same thing?
Yes.
My man.
Why would I took him and Taco Fall on the same roster sometime. Just put him in the game.
I like it.
It's like I am the worst GM in the league. Taco Fall point guard.
I love it, dude. I went on there one time and I made like an entire roster full of centers. I think I had this one. Now this is years ago. I'm going back with this one. I had a player that most college basketball old heads know, but the young guys won't. I had Cherokee Parks as one of my point guards.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a little Cherokee Parks. That's a throwback, Dookie.
That's a throwback, exactly. Throwback brotherhood. Let's go.
Speaking of throwing it back, let's check the wheel again and see where I'm going to end up with my third pick.
Over and under, it lands on a mid-major conference.
Oh, how do you know, Les? You don't know that for sure. Oh,
That's why I'm
we're
taking a bet on
spinning,
it.
and we're spinning, unless your bet's going to pay off because guess who got the Mountain West?
Oh Lord.
The Mountain West, unless I think you know exactly where I'm going with this one because as I confirmed last week,
Max Rice.
it's yeah, it's tempting. It's tempting.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with that Patino World statement. And you know who I got to get? I got to get the son of an NBA great again. Some of the old heads are familiar with Mr. Jamal Mashburn's son, Jamal Mashburn Jr. Another 6'2 guard with almost averaging 20 points a game last year, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and another 43% field goal percentage rounding up. Like I said, I think New Mexico is going to be an interesting team to watch next year, along with Boise State. This really came down to Tyson Dengelhart and Jamal Mashburn Jr. for me. I like both those guys, but I'm going to go with Jamal Mashburn. I think he makes a lot of dynamic plays on the perimeter. And I mean, with the guys he's going to be playing with this year, it's going to be really fun to watch him go. So from the Mountain West Conference, I'm taking Jamal Mashburn Jr. You ready, Les?
Over under that I land on a Power 5 conference or a Power 6 conference rather.
You'd be surprised. Here we go. It's spinning. The wheel is spinning and spinning, and we're ending up on. Ooh, I didn't even know they were in there. The Southland Conference.
The Southland Conference.
I'm kidding, Les. You got the B. You got the Pac-12.
I got the Pac-12.
You've got the Pac-12.
Ooh, this is going to be a good one because there's so many good players in the Pac-12. But, I'm looking at the lineup I have now. Tyrese Proctor, Zach Edey. So I really don't want to pick like a point guard or a center here.
He's right there, Les.
Would it be like too early to go ahead and pick my coach?
No, I don't think so.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and do that then. I am going to go ahead and pick my coach, and I'm going to go with the best coach in the Pac-12, and that's Tommy Lloyd, the head coach of Arizona. That's going to be my pick. So yeah, I'm picking a coach early here.
I can't believe you didn't take Caleb Love.
That's all I'm going to say.
I was thinking you were going to go with Tristan Da Silva at first because I was like,
Mhm.
power forward, Colorado, Coach Prime. It would make sense. But
Actually, that wouldn't even been my. If I was going to pick a Colorado player, it wasn't even going to be Tristan da Silva. It was going to be Cody Williams because you know how I follow recruiting like that.
You do love your freshman.
I do love
You
my
came out
recruits.
wrong.
Yeah, that okay. Wow, Matt.
No.
I didn't. You said it, not me.
Let's go back to the wheel. Okay.
Let's go back to the
look,
wheel. Matt, it's your turn.
the wheel is spinning. My fourth pick. Oh, what are it's going to be? Where are we going to end up? Looks like I'm going to end up on the Atlantic 10. Oh boy.
Oh, you another mid-major conference. Go figure.
Who would have thought that, right? The A10.
Right.
Oh, okay. Now, Les, you talk all the time about Max over from Oral Roberts, who's now at Texas, and how he's a first team All McClellan.
Max
Anybody
Asmus.
Yes. And there's another guy who's been on like first team Matt McClellan ever since we started this podcast. And he got hurt a little bit last year, but now he's back. And he's a 6'10 junior now for the Dayton Flyers. Deron Holmes, the second.
Ooh.
18.4 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, about almost 2 assists, and a nice even field goal percentage of 59%. He's a big power forward center type. I love his size. I love his ability. I love it that he's healthy again. I'm going to go with Deron Holmes, the second from the Dayton Flyers.
You low-key got a nice little lineup here.
Power
got a nice little lineup here.
The power of the mid-major, Les. The power of the mid-major. Speaking, back to the wheel. You ready, Les?
Wheel. I'm ready.
Here we go. Spinning and spinning and spinning, and we're going to stop early on this one because Les, you have gotten where it just means more. The Southeastern Conference.
Ooh, you know who I got to pick here. You know who I got to pick here.
I know who you're going.
I gotta pick the unicorn himself. I gotta go with Grant Nelson. I am so excited to see what he's gonna do in a Nate Oates offense. And not to mention, like, I'm looking at my front court right now. I got Zach Edey. I got Grant Nelson. I mean, that could right there might be the best front court in college basketball, if we're being honest.
It could be. If he went to Purdue, I would have given up. I'm just going to be honest.
Right.
I just would have given up. So I don't blame you there at all. Uh-oh. Looks like the wheel's moving again.
Oh, it's Matt's turn again.
Uh-oh. This is rounding up my starting five.
Mm-hmm.
The wheel is stopping, and it's going, and it's stopping, and it's going, and we've landed on the Big South Conference.
Another mid-major. Look at that.
Not the Little South, the Big South. And there's only one great player I'm taking from this. I don't think it'll shock anybody to know that we are going to UNC Asheville to pick up our 6'11 senior forward, a guy who could have engineered a few upsets last year in Drew Pember. I love this guy to death. He's a scoring machine. He's a one-man game disruptor. There are a lot of teams that just have people who can absolutely ruin your game plan. And Drew Pember is one of those guys. 20.9 points per game last year, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and a nice 46% field goal percentage. I really enjoy. I think UNC Asheville is going to be a fun team. They gave UCLA a run for their money a little bit when they played in the NCAA tournament. That UCLA team with Tiger Campbell and Jaime Jaquez was just too good. I think this year they can pull an upset. So with my finals pick for the starting five, I'm going with Drew Pember of UNC Asheville.
What's crazy is I still have 2 slots for my starting five because I went ahead and picked a coach.
You did. And now let's see how you'll fill that out with the wheel.
Let's see.
The wheel is spinning and spinning and spinning, and you've gotten. Here's your other. I wonder what kind of player Les will take from this conference, because Les, we've ended up with the Big 12.
Oh, I wonder who I'm gonna take here. You know,
I have no idea.
Because I'm pretty sure we all know that if this player had not gone to a certain school, I would still be calling him a certain nickname. So I'm going to go with the Matt McClellan All-Star himself, Max Asmus, and I'm going to line him up next to Tyrese Proctor as my other guard. And as you all know on this podcast, had he not committed to Texas, I'd still be referring to him as Tyrese Proctor's son. So I got Tyrese Proctor, who would have been his son had he not gone to Texas, in my backcourt. This is a scary team I got, bro.
If they don't fight each other, that's the only bad thing.
You'd be too bad to worry about that.
Meanwhile, back on the wheel, let's see where I'm going to end up with my six-man category. And we're spinning and we're spinning. And would you look at that? We've ended up in the Missouri Valley Conference. Oh,
Oh
boy.
Lord.
And there's only one place to go for this pick, too. And I think everyone who's in the know, who knows the ball, knows where this one's going. And that's going to be 6'7" from Drake University, Tucker DeVires. I love this guy, love his game. They almost beat Miami last year and stopped what ended up being a great Final Four run. They had him on the ropes. And with his 18.6 points per game last year, nearly 6 rebounds, and nearly 2 assists a game to go with a 44.6 field goal percentage. He's a 6'7" guard forward who can absolutely stroke it. And I love the intensity that the Drake Bulldogs play with. So for my six man, I'm going with Tucker DeVries from Drake University.
Before we spin the dial again, and if someone is actually has the correct answer on this, please let us know in the comment section below. But I actually think it's pronounced DeVries.
DeVries, you're probably right. I have a cold and I can't think straight. So
I understand. It's all good. Why do you think I sip hibiscus tea every episode? It's
that's
not.
what
It's
you're
not.
doing.
Do
I
what?
thought I thought it was whiskey from having to deal with me.
Dude, I'm over a year sober. It's definitely not whiskey.
No, that's right. Well, I wouldn't
Some
blame you.
friend, man, you forget about my sobriety. That's wild.
Well, you
You
deal with
didn't even
me
give me a
every
token or anything. That's wild.
you deal with me every other week. I wouldn't blame you for anything you did.
Fair enough.
See? All right, let's ready for the wheel.
I'm ready for my final starter.
Oh boy, your final starter. Let's see what conference that's going to come from. As we spin and we spin and we spin and we end up on the Big East.
Ooh, the Big East.
The Big
Eh,
East, not the Little East.
not the Little East, the Big East. And you know what? I think it's time to actually pick a player from the defending champs. And fun fact, this player had the first triple double in program history and within the last, I think, what was it, 30, 40 years?
Yeah, it was
I'm gonna
like 42 years, I think.
something like that, something crazy like that. And I'm gonna go with Tristan Newton from UConn. I am loving my team right now. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. So you ready for me to hit the wheel again? You writing something down?
I'm writing it down. We're good.
Okay. So I'm gonna click the wheel and see if where I'm gonna end up now. And we're spinning, and we've ended up on the Summit League. Oh boy. I can't imagine who I'm going to pick here. Oh, I already know it's Zeke Mayo, folks. If you don't know who Zeke Mayo is, you better learn right now because the South Dakota State Jackrabbits are going to be a really fun team this year, led by this 6'4" junior. He scores in droves. He's a really impressive player to watch. I really like Zeke Mayo, and I hope you'll pay attention when I say you need to watch him now too, because the San Diego State, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, maybe one of those teams that scares your team in March, and Mayo behind 18.2 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, nearly 3.5 assists a game, and a 42.6 field goal percentage, which is bound only to go up, make that team a lot scarier than they should be. So I'm going with Zeke Mayo of the South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
Solid pick. Solid pick.
Have I already gone through all the Power Five schools conferences for you, Les?
I mean, you have, but I mean, we can use multiple conferences. Like again, I mean, again, we have no control. It's all the wheel. It's the power of the wheel, bud.
It is the power of the wheel. The power of the wheel. Power within. All right, let's see where we end up with now for you, Les. And we're spinning. And we're spinning. And it looks like we're going back to the Pac 12 for you.
Back to the Pac-12. Ooh. You know, I love my recruits, right?
Yeah.
And I have a good backcourt already, right?
Yeah.
But I got to give these guys a break somehow. So I'm going to go with another guard here, a freshman guard, and that's Isaiah Collier, a guy that I thought before Elliot Cadeau reclassified to this class was the best point guard in this class. I know Kentucky fans are going to come from my neck and be like, well, what about DJ Wagner? I always liked Collier better, my personal opinion. That's just what I look for in a player. But yeah, I think my sixth man essentially is going to be Isaiah Collier.
All right. Now it's time for me to hit the wheel. I wonder where I'm going to end up. The mind boggles and makes me wonder as the wheel slows down where we're headed, and it looks like we're headed for Conference USA.
Your last player pick or coach, all depending.
You don't know because there could be a surprise with the wheel. But for my Conference USA pick, I'm going with a guy who's a little bit undersized for his position, but plays with like an insane intensity that I just absolutely adore. And that's Isaiah Crawford from the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. 6'6, 6'7 forward, averaged nearly 14 points a game, had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a 50% field goal percentage. Last year, what happened is like Louisiana Tech ran into a buzzsaw in the form of Grant McCaslin and the University of North Texas Mean Green. That is no longer in the way, and I think Crawford is a very, very good player. I think that he's going. I don't know if they have enough to overtake some of the teams. I mean, Western Kentucky has a couple really good guards, including Deontay Allen, who I almost ended up taking. But I'm going to go with Isaiah Crawford, a guy who plays well beyond his size and has a lot of hustle. I absolutely adore that style of play he's got. So I'm going to go with Isaiah Crawford from Louisiana Tech and a whole bunch of Bulldogs.
Well, back-to-back Isaiah picks. I low-key dig it.
Hey, we got to keep some themes going. So,
Right.
what do you need now?
I need two more players.
2 more players. All right. Well, we're going to spin the wheel and see what we end up with. And we're spinning unless you have ended up on. It's slowing down, but oh my! Unless we're going back to the Big Ten.
Oh, we're going back to the Big Ten.
We're going back to the Big Ten.
You know, I'm going to stick to the theme of having a freshman. And I'm going to one of the more versatile big men in the freshman class in the Big Ten. I'm going to go with Michigan State commit Xavier Booker.
I have seen him play, and I do like him.
I have too, and I also like him. Hence why I drafted him.
How much do you like him?
Enough to draft him.
All right, that's good. Oh, hey, Les, because it's giving me all these mid majors. It's the wheel is allowing me to have one more pick for a player to help me even things out a little bit. So let's see if it gives me a conference that's not a mid major this time.
Ooh, we're getting a non-mid major player this time.
Are
We'll
we?
see.
Are we?
Are we? We will, that's right. We're leaving it in the power of the wheel.
Oh, we're spinning. We're spinning. Where are we going to end up? Where are we headed? Oh my God, Les. We're headed for the Horizon League.
Another mid major.
And guess who I'm going to take from the Horizon League? I'm
Ooh,
going to take a guy who had a very impressive performance in last year's CBI, where he dropped 43 points on the Stetson Hatters. He's a 6'6", 200-pound junior guard from the University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Mr. BJ Freeman.
ooh.
18.2 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a 41% field goal percentage. I like a big physical guard, and I like big physical guards who can score easily. So I'm going to use that strange pick on Mr. BJ Freeman from the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee Panthers. And now to round
Now
out
you're just
left,
missing a now you're just missing a coach.
I know. Unless we need to get you another player, so let's spin the wheel. Oh, where are we going to end up? Uh-oh. Now here's where it gets interesting, Les. You can't pick Duke, but you've got the ACC right back where you started.
Ooh, for my last pick, I have to go with the ACC. And let's see. I got guards, but I might have to go with the Draymond Green of the ACC and go with Norshad Omier for my last pick, the ultimate glue guy in college basketball.
There's
I
never
like this.
anything wrong with picking the glue guy.
Nothing wrong with that. Besides, he's my last player pick.
All
So,
right. So I got to pick a coach, and then we put a bow on the draft. So let's see where the wheel wants to take me one last glorious time. And it stopped on very quickly on the Southland Conference, where I'm going to take a guy who I can't believe is in the Southland Conference. And I think it's kind of funny. Josh Pastner of McNeese State.
Ooh.
Don't be surprised if McNeese State is in the tournament coached by Josh Pastner. I'm just saying. Now, there's a lot of extra baggage that comes with that, but I kind of always thought the guy was cool, and it is kind of interesting to see. And if nothing else, maybe we'll get a little under the table to get more recruits on the roster. So, I'm going with Josh Pastner from McNeese State and the Southland Conference.
Well, we flew through that draft actually.
We did.
And if you don't mind, one more time, Matt, read off your team.
All right, read on off the team of Matt. Man, the wheel was not kind to me in a lot of ways, but I really like my guys. I've got Aiden Mahaney of St. Mary's from the West Coast Conference, Elijah Martin of Florida Atlantic University from the American Athletic Conference, Jamal Mashburn Jr. from the New Mexico Lobos from the Mountain West, Duron Holmes III from Dayton University out of the A10, Drew Pember from UNC Asheville of the Big South, Zeke Mayo of South Dakota State University of the Summit League, BJ Freeman of the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, Tucker DeVires, maybe, we're not sure. Somebody help us.
We'll see. Yeah, somebody help us.
Drake of the Missouri Valley, and Isaiah Crawford of Louisiana Tech out of Conference USA, with Coach Josh Pastner now at McNeese State.
And as for Team Les, coached by Tommy Lloyd of the Arizona Wildcats, I have my starters, Tyrese Proctor from Duke, go figure. Reigning Player of the Year, Zach Edey from Purdue. The unicorn of college basketball, Grant Nelson from Alabama. The all Matt McClellan All-Star himself, Max Asmus from Texas. Mr. Triple-Double himself, Tristan Newton from UConn. The best freshman point guard in the Pac-12, Isaiah Collier. The most versatile freshman big in the Big Ten, and Xavier Booker. And the Draymond Green of the ACC, or the ultimate glue guy in college basketball, Norshad Omier. And that wraps up my team. You know what, Matt? Looking at these rosters, why do I feel like I picked the ultimate 1 seed while you picked the ultimate 16 seed?
I don't know. It would be interesting to see what happened if all these mid-major guys played together for a season. Would they be like
very interesting?
Would they be a 16 seed? Would they be more of like a powerhouse 5 seed? Who knows?
I mean, yeah, so one of those Cinderella teams. That's how I should have worded that. I picked like the ultimate powerhouse team, and you picked the ultimate Cinderella team.
Still, imagine if we could do an exhibition with like these rosters. That would be fun.
And you're adding some extra spookiness to this episode because now I can't even see your face.
I know the sun has gone in for the day, so I can use my iPad light. There I am.
There he is. And it's like shining. It's shining off your face in like perfect Halloween fashion. Like you're about to tell a scary campfire story.
It's time for the Blair Witch Project.
Oh man, that was a great movie. I'm not gonna lie, I love the Blair Witch. I wasn't as fan as like the sequel that came out in like 2017, but like the OG Blair Witch Project was like top.
Yeah, it's much better than those sequels. Ugh.
Yeah,
some things don't.
Scream does it right.
Scream did do a good sequel, yes, but some things just don't need sequels.
Fast and Furious series, we're looking at you. We don't need any more Fast and Furious movies.
But less.
But Matt.
Family.
Remember, nothing is stronger than family. You're right.
Team Rex is strong, but so is family.
Yo, take a wild guess what my favorite family meme was. Bean, what do you want?
Oh man, that could be a lot of. Did it have to do with like King? Was there one with King Ghidorah and like Kong and
It was one with Godzilla.
It was Godzilla one with Godzilla. Looking at each other like King Ghidorah is strong, but not as strong as the power of family.
Yeah, something like that. It was Godzilla is strong, but not as strong as family.
I can just see Vin Diesel with a shotgun just like driving toward Godzilla like family.
I think Matt, Bean is upset because we didn't let him draft a team.
He can always draft a team. We'll post the all Bean team later on. They'll probably like come up with like a mix of both our rosters that's got like enough unknown guys to be good, to be under the radar, but has enough mainstream guys to like get the casuals to look at it.
He's gonna pick players from like teams that I don't like.
He is. That's exactly what he's gonna do, and he's gonna laugh the entire time he's doing it.
A typical Bean fashion. That's all I gotta say.
Where is Armando Baycott? Where is he?
That's gonna be his top pick, Armando Baycott.
He's the
First
best player.
first pick in the Bean draft is Armando Baycott.
Why? Why did you not take any Kansas players, father? Hunter Dickinson is clearly the best center in the NCAA.
So why didn't he win Player of the Year last year, Bean? Answer me that.
There's a
Goofy.
bias towards narratives, and you know it. No one liked the story of Michigan.
You actually might have a point there, bud.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody on the Facebook live feed can all like see Bean just like staring into the camera right now, and it's hilarious.
That's because this is my unmitigated like platform, father. I must spread the news of the ACC. Don't invest in Duke.
Oh yeah, Bean is like the ultimate Duke hater. I'm actually surprised. Bean, up until like the last couple weeks, I would have told you Andy Katz is a major Duke hater, but like he's actually surprising me with some of his recent like lists. He had actually Cameron Indoor as like the top student section in the country. I was blown away that Andy Katz was going to post that.
What a bunch of nerds.
Hey man, hey Bean, before you were born, I was a part of the Cameron Crazies. It was a good time.
Nerds.
You're right. We are still in the
That's all Bean
bedroom of
has to
nerds.
say. We are still. That's where this whole thing started. Yes. I just think it's funny how Bean has made it very clear he knows the human social hierarchy, though.
Bean surprises me with what all he knows, honestly.
He will one day rule us all.
One day.
Bean, President Bean. He was born in the United States. He's 35 in dog years.
Not quite, actually. He's
Uh,
28 in dog years.
well, he'll get there, and that's when
He's
things
got
get,
one more year before he's 35 in dog years.
that's when things will get scary because it'll be right in time for the election.
Oh, I know. I didn't even think about that, but that's true.
This has been his plan all along. We're just gonna wake up on January 6th, and like Bean will be at the Capitol, like now is the time for Bean. Bean shall rule.
That's gonna be a very interesting day. I'm
My
not gonna lie.
first notion as emperor is to destroy Duke University and replace it with a bone factory.
He's gonna replace Duke University with a bone factory. Oh, that would be the typical thing my dog would do.
It will
Look
no
at him.
longer be
See?
Tobacco Road. It'll be Bone Road.
Is that what you do, bud? Yep, he's already telling me all about it.
Look at that. Look at that lust in his eyes. He's ready.
Oh yeah, he is more than ready.
He's
Oh
whispering it in your ear. He's whispering his plans for world domination.
No, he whispered in my ear, "You can't stop me."
It's like those cockroaches from Fairly Odd Parents. World domination. Faster world domination. Look at him. Look at him plotting. Oh, oh, oh my gosh.
And per usual, Bean has stolen the episode.
Well, he's doing this thing with his tongue. He really does want to draft a team. I guess we're gonna have to come up with the all bean team. I'm gonna have to let him use the forbidden technology of the spinner, so that way he can pick the all bean team, so he can quit licking himself. He's grooming as a form of protest. It's over.
I think that is Bean's cue that it is time to actually wrap up the episode here. So
Yes, I think it is. He wants to go for a walk or something.
yeah, he wants out. So, anyways, as always, like and subscribe to Less is More Sports YouTube and Spotify channel. Follow our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Threads at Less is More Sports to get the latest content of the latest. Wow, I just butchered that. The latest up-to-date information regarding each episode. And as always, tell us what you like, what you don't like in each episode. And without further ado, Matt and I are officially out. I got to go take care of this little monster right now.
Goodbye, B. Remember me when you take over the universe.
I hope he remembers all of us.